Returning now to the release of the Baker-Hamilton report, Dr. Dore Gold, former ambassador to the United Nations, discussed the plan's implications for the U.S. policy in the Middle East and possible diplomatic pressure that may be placed on Israel.
What are the regional implications of the Baker-Hamilton report?
Well, first of all, we have to understand that this report is an internal American discussion about how to disengage from Iraq. What the United States decides to do with respect to its forces in Iraq is an American decision, because it is America who's put its forces at risk, and we have to respect whatever choice they make. At the same time, the Baker-Hamilton report puts forward a strategy which has implications for Israel. In particular, its suggestion that both Iran and Syria could be important partners for creating a more stable outcome in Iraq.
Is that a problem to try to engage Syria and Iran? It appears that thus far, according to Hamilton-Baker report, the other strategy, meaning victory in Iraq, winning the peace and winning the war and winning the peace, has not worked.
Well, here's the real problem. If you try and think about who are the main players that have caused instability in Iraq, who have encouraged the flow of mujahideen, weapons, and money for the forces fighting the United States and the coalition, those forces, those countries, have been Iran and Syria. And now they read the Baker report, they read what's written in it and what isn't written in it. In other words, they see that America is saying, we cannot achieve victory. They interpret that as defeat. And now the United States is going to come to these two parties and say, now will you help me get out of Iraq? They're going to demand an exorbitant price for their cooperation. In the case of Iran, that it could include American acquiescence to an Iranian nuclear capability. In the case of Syria, most of us are focusing on the Golan Heights because it's mentioned in the report. But the primary Syrian goal in our area is to control Lebanon. And therefore, the price that the Syrians may demand will be an American acceptance of permanent Syrian hegemony in Lebanon. James Baker accepted that before as the price for Syrian entry into the coalition back in 1991 during the first Gulf War. Today, it may become again an issue. Is the United States prepared to accept a nuclear Iran, and is it prepared to sacrifice the independence of Lebanon? Those are hard questions.
What's the possibility that the Baker-Hamilton report's call for re-engaging Syria and Iran will result in Israel being called upon to withdraw from the Golan Heights, and perhaps in the name of peace with the Palestinians, from parts of the West Bank?
Well, this is exactly what the report is suggesting. In the case of Syria, the connection is more direct, because what the United States wants from Syria is cooperation in order to help America pull out of Iraq, in order to stabilize Iraq. And it is suggesting implicitly that a renewed negotiation between Israel and Syria should lead to an Israeli withdrawal from the Golan Heights. So it's as though the Golan is the price that Baker-Hamilton puts forward for Syrian support for American withdrawal from Iraq.
What's the possibility that President George W. Bush will implement the Baker-Hamilton report, which will end up having substantial impact on Israel?
In the absence of an alternative strategy in Washington for dealing with the Iraqi issue, the Baker-Hamilton report is likely to fill a vacuum in the policy debate, and therefore the Bush administration may have no choice but to accept large parts of the report, although not necessarily accepting every single clause that appears there.